right, we're good. Good evening. It's my privilege to call to order tonight's Thursday, December 7th, 2023 meeting of the Bridgewater Township Council, albeit just a few minutes late. We, in the same room, just concluded the Citizens Police Academy graduation. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting was provided on January 10th, 2023, with written notice and electronic notice provided to the Courier News and the Breeze, posting on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building, and filing with the township clerk. Subsequent notice with revised live stream information was provided on August 15th, 2023. Attendance roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Here.
Councilman Nogales?
Here.
Councilman Pedroso?
Here.
President Kirsch?
I'm here. If everyone would please join us for Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Nogales.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have minutes of approval for two meetings, both of which were distributed electronically to council members. I believe some edits have been provided. Are there any other edits? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve October 5th.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor of approving the October 5th minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and November 9th, a motion to approve.
I'll move those also.
And a second?
I'll second it.
And all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, those are approved.
I may need to abstain on that one.
Let's just validate, November 9th were you at that meeting?
I think I will.
No, you were not.
No.
Okay, so we'll note Councilman Pedroso's abstention on November 9th. All right, Township Council reports. I'll begin on my right with Councilman Cordilla.
Okay, it's been a while since we met and a lot has transpired, but the one thing that I would like to comment about was the attendance at the township tree lighting on November 29th. You go to these events and at times you look at it as an event without really thinking what it truly does mean. And for me, in attending, I was taken back by the whole process by two township employees, Susan Mader and Lynn Hurley. Yes, I spoke. Yes, the mayor spoke, as we have done many, many times. But what truly amazed me was when Susan and Linda started to act with the children who were present. Looking at the children and the excitement in their eyes and the joy of listening to the skit for them to go around the town square and find all the things that Sue and Linda had hidden and they were looking for Santa, it brought me back to thinking, oh my gosh, what have I been missing for a while? And I want to compliment both Susan and Linda for the work that they did, for the time that they did to put their presentation together for the children of Bridgewater, and also to just say it's something that I needed also, and I want to thank them for that, and I hope the record shows that. For me, the week has been, since that time, has been pretty difficult, including today. It's been 4 funerals and some different things with bad news. But this past weekend, again, I was reminded about one of the good things about Bridgewater Township. And Michael, forgive me for dragging this out a little bit, but I think it's important. The JCC sponsored a dinner dance Saturday evening, which allowed my wife and I and my daughter, a special needs daughter, to attend the event and for her to have dinner with friends and dance and just have a gay old time. But it gave my wife and I the opportunity, hey, let's go for dinner. Obviously, we couldn't go far, but we truly chose a Bridgewater business that I think has been, I don't know if it's given enough recognition, but the Top of the Hill Tavern. You look at the top of the hill, if you blink, you miss it. The driveway is sort of hard to find. Luckily, I found it. But we had a great time at the top of the hill, and there was a live band. Who ever heard of going for a dinner anymore with a live band? Needless to say, while we were there, started thinking again, what about Bridgewater Township? You know, here we are, we just had the Christmas thing, the Christmas tree lighting. Please, I apologize. Our daughter is at a great Bridgewater location having a dinner dance, and believe me, when we picked her up, she really had a great time. And the truth be told, my wife and I had a great time at the top of the hill. And with some of the bad news that we received, it made me think about the commitment that we all make up here as elected officials. Each one of us, oh, by the way, lives in Bridgewater Township. And I think at times, while I know we all care desperately for our township because it's our homes, I think there are some times where it's only human nature, you take things for granted and you do not reflect on what the true value of everything is. So as part of my report, and I apologize if you think it's corny, but this past week, with all the highs and lows, with especially the combination of all, has made me realize how lucky we are, how lucky I am with my family to be in Bridgewater. And I know that being an elected official, I'm part of a team that represents roughly 46,000 people as Bridgewater residents. And I know that the five of us, including the mayor and his staff, we all take this job very seriously. At times we're criticized, at times we're given thanks. And you all put it together, what it all boils down to is, you know, wake up. We live in Bridgewater. We live in a great community. We all know some great people. And to me, it was this past week, since our last meeting, was a little bit of a reignition of what it means to be a Bridgewater resident, and above all, what it means to be an elected official in Bridgewater Township. Thank you.
Thank you, and certainly a few extra moments reflecting as you have are value added for everybody. Councilman Norgalis.
And Alan, I know where the top of the hill is. My church has a prayer breakfast there every month, so I'm there regularly. And the driveway is tough to find. It is with sadness that I report the passing of Subhash Amin, husband of Pushpa Amin. Subhash was a 50-year resident of Bridgewater, where he and Pushpa participated in the life of this town in many, many ways. I attended the annual League of Municipalities meeting, where there were vendors and training forums available to elected officials and professionals across a wide range of topics. Happy Hanukkah to our Jewish friends. This is the festival of light that began tonight at sundown. It is celebrated for 8 days with the lighting of the menorah. Attended several Hindu Diwali celebrations, one at the Bridgewater Senior Center and two at the temple on 202-206. The temple governing board made substantial contributions to the police department and to the fire and rescue volunteer organizations serving their location. Attended the gathering to recognize the retirement of long-term clerk Linda Doyle. We wish her well. Also attended the gathering to recognize the long service of Scarlett Doyle, who retires after several decades of service to our town as the professional planner. She will be dearly missed, especially by me. I call this dear lady, whether it's weekday, weekend, and she answers the question. More about that in a few minutes. I attended the monthly meeting of the Bridgewater Municipal Alliance, chaired by Lynn Hurley. There was an extensive discussion of the issue of the relationship of mental illness to drug addiction. Serena Collado, a director of community health at RWJ Somerset Hospital, joined our meeting, and I am hopeful she agrees to become a member in 2024. That is my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Pedroso, please.
Thank you, sir. First of all, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. I see a lot of blue shirts in the house. I'm guessing you're all nurses? Nurses? Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for what you do for all of us. And so I see a lot of officers in the house, too. I feel safe tonight. I know I'm in all sorts of ways, but congratulations to all the graduates of the Citizens Police Academy. And thank you to the Bridgewater Police for running this Bridgewater Shields program. We're very fortunate here in Bridgewater to also have a phenomenal police department, and I'm always very pleased to thank them for their service to our community and for keeping us safe here in town. I want to acknowledge the fact that our clerk, Linda Doyle, retired from serving our township here, I think, for 25 years. Is that right? 25 years? I know. I've been on the council for 11, and she was the clerk the entire time, and I can tell you she ran our clerk's office impeccably. I'm going to miss her. She was certainly a great employee here at Bridgewater Township and provided phenomenal service to all our residents. So I wish her the best. I do want to acknowledge the passing of Subhash Amin. We're going to miss him. Pushpa and Subhash have been certainly active members of our community. I served on the zoning board with Pushpa for many, many years, and then her husband as well. And so we're going to miss him, and God bless them and their family. And lastly, I just want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah starts this evening. Hope everyone has a blessed holiday, and all the best. So that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, so the bad news is I have 14 items. The good news is I'm going to go through them very quickly, and the good news for Grace is I will provide you these notes or discuss them with you as needed, so you don't necessarily have to write fast and furious. First, Council Vice President Ring is not on the dais tonight because he's under the weather. Item number 2, second is an event I attended shortly after our last meeting, Skate for the Paws, correct? Yes, so that was a good event. So for the second year in a row, I supported by being there without getting on a skateboard, and that's going to be something that will certainly continue. I attended the League of Municipalities. 2 particular sessions I attended to highlight, one about health insurance funds, or HIFs, and the other was one with legislative leaders with their plans for the remainder of this year, possibly into early next year. There was considerable conversation about COA and what may be coming there. Next, I attended at the JCC a morning with Eli Honig. He is a CNN senior legal analyst. He gave an assessment of what is going on in the Middle East. Later that same night, attended the Silver Jubilee and fundraiser for the Health Camp of New Jersey. That is an important initiative affiliated with the Hindu Temple and Cultural Society, and it is at that event that I learned of the substantial contributions to the efforts of the Health Camp of New Jersey. That is, their mission is to bring health care to those who may not otherwise have access. The considerable efforts there by the Amins in that effort, including Subhash, whose funeral was the following day. So on behalf of the community, and I know several of us attended Subhash Amin's funeral back on November 20th. On November 21st, I had the opportunity to visit the Food Bank Network of Somerset County, located over within Bridgewater, and did some volunteer work with Congressman Tom Kane's staff. They did that a couple days before Thanksgiving. Next item was the community. I was at the Community Thanksgiving Eve Interfaith Service. That's an initiative that has been going on for many, many years. and it involves the Bridgewater United Methodist Church, the Garden State Sikh Association, and Temple Shalom, my synagogue. This year happened to be hosted at Temple Shalom. That's a nice community tradition. Going in order, we had, as was mentioned, Linda Doyle's farewell event. The Christmas tree lighting that was also mentioned. I want to add to the accolades that were stated for the staff for putting together a very memorable event, and Santa Claus came once again. On this past Monday, the 4th, I attended the Senior Center Holiday Lunch and spoke very briefly, acknowledging the important participation and contributions both in the present and in the past of so many of our seniors in the community. The Citizens Police Academy graduation just happened. That's why we started our meeting a few minutes late, and if you could just indulge me, and I'll give you these names. I want to just quickly read the graduates' names. Apologies if I mispronounce any. Cesar Abella, Lucilla Abella, James Alamo, Bridge Brushin, Jenna Lynn Bonney, Sheila Chagani, Joseph Cusimano II, Robin Cusimano, Geraldine Freeman, Chuan Gu, Michal Harvis, Brian Horn, John Homus, Milta Kumar Makvana, Dawn Marinelli, Permal Pillai, Jennifer Roberto, Joseph Roberto, Jason Sherrard, Tatanasha Towns, and Daniel Zielinski, and I'll give you that so you have all those names. So certainly congratulations to all those graduates and for our police department for sponsoring the second Citizens Police Academy. And then 2 items that are coming up in the future. Next Monday night is our community Hanukkah celebration out in our courtyard, so hopefully that'll be, I guess, our 4th annual menorah lighting, and will be well attended. And then we've just publicly announced that our reorganization is set for Thursday, January 4th at 6:00 p.m. in this room. So that has been publicly advertised and is now publicly known in this room. So thank you for your indulgence with that lengthy list, and I will now turn to a combination of mayor and administrator for reports.
Thank you, Council President. I just have a few quick items. I'm going to save my. There we go. Now I'm on. Thank you, Council President. I just have a few real quick items, just as a matter of housekeeping. My wife is currently in Florida with for a national cheerleading competition with my daughter. So that means I'm in charge of my other 2 children. I'm here for the proclamation, but I will have to leave after that. So I apologize to the council and the public, but I have to go make sure the other 2 children are not running amok throughout the house any more than they are at the moment. I will save my rest of my comments regarding Scarlett Doyle for during the proclamation, who is here. And on a more serious note, I'm going to have ask Mr. Pappas to go over the audit and some information for the audit for the council and the public who's here.
Oh, before you do that, the mayor just ran his 2nd marathon, and he was under 4 hours and probably got some blisters, but congratulations to him for something that is really spectacular.
Thank you. I made it through okay. I'm walking more or less normal now, and we'll still be a little slow for the next couple of days, but thank you. So, all right, Mike.
Thank you. As the mayor said, we do have council action on the agenda tonight, accepting the audit, and I'd just like to make this statement for the benefit of the public. Each year, Bridgewater Township, like all municipalities, is required to undergo an independent auditing process, which helps to ensure that we are current and compliant with all of the statutes and regulations that surround municipal finance. Our auditing firm has recently completed our 2022 audit, indicating the township's widespread compliance throughout the report. Our review has identified 3 instances where further action will be needed. After receiving these comments, our finance office put together a corrective action plan and is already far along in its implementation. Between the firm the township contracted with to perform the CFO duties for the audit year in question, and our new full-time CFO all have indicated to me that they, along with their staffs, will have these 3 areas resolved by the end of this calendar year. I'll now briefly reference the issues that were identified, as well as the timeline for resolution of each. The first dealt with general ledgers, and we are pledging that the township will ensure that the contracting CFO, Holman Frenia Allison, PC, will bring all general ledgers current for the subject period on or before 12/31/23. The second item is dealing with interfund balances, and the current Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Pandos, will review all interfund balances prior to end of year and liquidate them. And the third deals with appropriation balances, and our implementation plan will commit that the administrator and the chief financial officer will jointly issue a monthly report to the council detailing the status of all expenditures. The administration takes every audit seriously, and this one is no exception. We are confident that under the leadership of our new CFO, our audits will continue to prove that Bridgewater Township holds to the highest standards of fiscal accountability, and that we will fine-tune our process to come as close to perfection as possible. Additionally, to avoid any misunderstanding or misrepresentations, I would like to unequivocally inform our residents that these are all correctable, and that our auditor stated very clearly that the, quote, cash proved, end quote, which means all funds are accounted for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. That's it from us.
Okay. So we have a few exciting items coming up. First will be a proclamation honoring the longtime service of Scarlett Doyle. So we haven't necessarily rehearsed this, but I know, Mayor, you have an actual proclamation and a presentation.
I do.
I would imagine that from there, there may be, unless there's any objection on the dais, there may be some members of the audience, particularly present and former land use board members who may wish to comment, and I know that there will be those on the dais who've interacted with Scarlett extensively who may also wish to comment. So, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. I'm going to come down to the podium. Oh, good evening. Tonight we have an opportunity to honor somebody who has had as much, if not as greater an impact on our community than nearly anybody that's sat at the dais behind me or has worked for the township over the past 25 years, just about. Yeah, I see Scarlett's nodding. I know it's about 20-something. I remember when I first got involved with the township, one of my first big responsibility was sitting on the zoning board. And for anybody, I know there's a lot of land use board members here, and for members of the public, you understand how important land use issues can be to the community. It's a big job. It's a big board. It's an important board. Planning board too. And I was maybe 22 when I got appointed. It could have been 23. But I was looking back, I was young. And Mayor Flannery appointed me. And I was in law school at the time. And I had taken my land use class, so I was all set. I knew everything I needed to know about land use from my land use class. And I can still remember early on as a board member and then as a councilman, when you needed to know where to go, Scarlett always was there to help. And as a young board member, especially coming in at 23, it would have been very easy for someone with Scarlett's professional background and importance here in Bridgewater and other towns to write off the 23-year-old who is pestering her with questions and sometimes being a pain at board meetings. I don't think any of our land use attorneys are here that appeared in front of those boards, but I wasn't always the easiest to deal with on the boards. Don was there at the time. He can maybe attest to it, and Philippe. But Scarlett went out of her way, and I know she didn't just do this with me, and there's many board members throughout her career here in Bridgewater that she has mentored, she has coached, she has become a friend and an advisor to, where whether it was at board meetings or whether it was not at board meetings, where I could pick up the phone and call and say, Scarlett, I need help. I need to understand this. I need to understand what's happening here with this piece of property, or what the options are, or what does this mean for our town? What does this mean for the future of our town? And you could always count on Scarlett to give you good advice, but not just on land use matters, on, she's a friend to many of the board members who are here, who have served over the years. Scarlett, which mayor first appointed you, Scarlett? Dowden. So Scarlett was first appointed by Mayor Dowden, Democrat, and has now been through 4 administrations, Dowden, Flannery, Hayes, and now myself, with the same planner. Guys, that doesn't happen in politics, that you have the same professional through 4 administrations, including, 2 different parties for that length of time. If you don't have an unbelievably exceptional person serving in that role, the fact that virtually every single thing when you drive through town that you see, Scarlett has touched in some way. Everything you see in town, whether it's the parks that we preserved, whether it's the businesses that we helped build, whether it's the commerce that's here, the homes you live in, everything in this town has had Scarlett's fingerprints on it. And it's an enduring legacy through a town which I argue, and I'm biased, I'm the mayor of the town, I know it, but I would argue that when people talk about towns in Somerset County or in New Jersey, Bridgewater is the envy of almost everybody. We're the standard that they look up to. We're the standard, we're meeting our affordable housing requirements because of proper planning. We're preserving open space because of proper planning. The things that we've done here in Bridgewater, Scarlett has had an impact on our town, the public, whether they know it or not, and the hearts and the lives of so many people. I could go on all night long. I won't. For those of you who don't know, Scarlett also owns Buffalo Farm, which I could not believe and was so excited to discover when I don't know how I realized it or how I learned that. And I can still remember the times of taking my kids out to the farm. I actually even went out without kids a couple times. Scarlett has been an amazing friend to me for my entire time in public service, and it really has done so much. So I'm going to read a proclamation, and then I have a presentation for you, Scarlett, and I'll give those both to you. And certainly I see a lot of our former and present board members in the audience tonight. Jeff Foose is here, Don Sweeney is here, Maurizio is here, Jim Wiley is here, Claudio is here. I'm sure I'm missing people, but thank you for the service that you've done. The proclamation here is honoring the service of Bridgewater Township Municipal Planner Scarlett Doyle. Whereas the Township of Bridgewater acknowledges and celebrates the distinguished career of Scarlett Doyle, who has faithfully served as the Township Municipal Planner for decades. And whereas Scarlett Doyle has demonstrated an exceptional commitment to the Township, exhibiting unparalleled attention to detail, an extensive understanding of Bridgewater and the New Jersey Municipal Land Use Law, and a remarkable aptitude for collaborative efforts. And whereas, throughout her tenure, Scarlett Doyle has played an integral role in guiding the growth of Bridgewater, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of our community through her foresight and dedication. And whereas Scarlett Doyle's unparalleled knowledge and professionalism have greatly contributed to the successful navigation of complex planning processes, ensuring that Bridgewater evolves in a manner that aligns with the best interests of its residents. And whereas Scarlett Doyle's excellence in collaboration has fostered positive relationships among various stakeholders, governmental bodies, and community members, promoting unity and cooperation for the betterment of our township. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Township of Bridgewater expresses its deepest gratitude to Scarlett Doyle for exceptional service, unwavering commitment, and significant contributions to the excellence and prosperity of our community. Be it further proclaimed that in recognition of Scarlett Doyle's exceptional tenure and heartfelt dedication to the Township of Bridgewater, the Mayor and Council proudly present, I'll go in a second, her with the key to the township as a token of appreciation. This key serves as a tangible expression of gratitude to Scarlett Doyle's outstanding service and the Mayor and Council's warmest wishes for a well-deserved and fulfilling retirement. Scarlett, congratulations, and if you could come up, I'll give you the. This is the key to the town, Scarlett.
We may. Yo, please, please. Unless there's any objection from my colleagues, I'm wondering if our two land use board chairs want to briefly make any incremental comments.
Well, Scarlett, you survived us. You survived our midnight calls. You always pick up. And no matter how complicated the case is, you make us better. And I don't want to drag this out, and I'm going to save my best stuff for cake and coffee before our next meeting with the board. But personally, you taught me land use. And I know many other board members wouldn't have the working knowledge of the MLUL thanks to you. And every meeting you make us better. You take a group, you take a team, and we're better because you're there. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and God bless you.
Scarlett, I'm not going to pretend I understand the impact that you've had on this township because I've served this community only a fraction of the 2 decades plus that you've served our community, and we thank you for that. But I will say that the planning board, the residents of the planning board have had an exceptional opportunity to have learned from you, to have been mentored by you, to have been inspired by you. I do remember the first evening that I walked up those steps over there, you said, Mr. Vesio, you will learn a lot. And I have learned quite a lot, and that's to you. So on behalf of the residents on the planning board, we thank you, and we will work hard to make sure that we further and maintain your legacy. Thank you very much, Scarlett.
And I also presume there are probably some sentiments to share on the dais, so I'll start to my left with Councilman Pedroso.
Congrats, Scarlett. I was on the zoning board for 10 years. I was vice chair by the time I left, and I think throughout those entire years, Scarlett was our planner. And certainly, I mean, I'm just going to echo the sentiment that everyone has shared. I'm not sure if I should repeat everything, but Scarlett really was invaluable. She has tremendous insight and certainly knows our town very well, and provided great feedback, and also gave us some guidance as to kind of where to drill some of the witnesses and where perhaps they were wrong, and things that we needed to kind of highlight and emphasize. The role of the planner and the role of Scarlett's had certainly is super valuable because there's nothing that impacts Bridgewater's quality of life than zoning. And everything our town is, the character of our town is based on zoning. The way our neighborhoods look, the way they feel, the things that we love about Bridgewater are all about zoning. And so Scarlett, certainly as the mayor pointed on, has her fingerprints on every significant project that this township has gone through over the past 25 years. And you look back, Bridgewater has changed a lot, but we've done a lot of good work, I think, in trying to maintain it and keeping it the way it is. I mean, our population has grown very little compared to neighboring towns, and in part that's due to zoning. I know everybody on this council and the zoning board and planning board try very, very hard to protect our quality of life through zoning. And Scarlett, you know, she's the queen of zoning, so she's part of everything that's happened in this town when it comes to that. Scarlett was a big part of it. So thank you for everything you've done here from Bridgewater Township. I wish you the best going forward. I hope you come back and visit. You have the key, so I guess you, I expect you to use it. And so God bless you, Godspeed everything you do, and I wish you the best in your retirement going forward. I just want to spend the last 10 seconds just acknowledging and thanking the many volunteers that we have that serve on zoning and planning boards. The zoning and planning boards are perhaps one of the most time-consuming boards that we have in our township. They really involve, I know from personal experience, they involve a lot of time. There's a lot of preparation before the meeting. There are hours and hours during meetings. Sometimes they drag on. We had meetings that dragged on, I think, until midnight. But it's just it's a big, big time commitment, and they provide so much to our township. They're not paid, thankless job, but I want to thank them for doing that and stepping up and serving our community, doing a great job, being the guardians here of our quality of life in Bridgewater and protecting our, just the way our township is developed properly, and that we can all continue to love Bridgewater Township for what it is. So thank you, Scarlett. Thank you, all board members. Just appreciate everything you guys have done. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Norgalis.
Gosh, Scarlett, there are a lot of things I'd like to say. You know, Scarlett has been the secret weapon of Bridgewater Township for the 25 years that I have known her. In fact, one thing that's not widely known is Scarlett is not an employee. She's a contractor. We expect our employees to be dedicated, but we don't always get that in a contractor. Now, all the way back to the John Silo days, and there is probably nobody who has been more committed to this town. By the way, she lived in the town for a number of years, so she knows the town, knows everything about the town. She has been a confidant in terms of always being available. I have called her evenings, I have called her on weekends. Even there was one time, now, Scarlett, I'm going to tell the tale when the mayor at the time, and it wasn't our current administration, did not want council people to talk to department heads. So technically, there was a gag order where I was not, or any of my peers were not supposed to talk to Scarlett. But I was on the planning, I was the council person on the planning board, so I went to the mayor and I said, I really need to have your blessing to be able to talk to Scarlett. And I got that blessing. So Scarlett and I could talk legitimately. But one day we had an issue and Scarlett says, I think we need to get the engineer involved in this, so maybe we can have a conference call and I'll go get the engineer, we'll find a time when we can talk. Well, next thing I got a call from the then administrator rapping my knuckles saying, we know you can talk to Scarlett, but you can't talk to anybody else. That notwithstanding, Scarlett has been a friend to everybody in this township. She knows the employees, she knows the thing. You have a street, you want to talk to her about it. She knows the history, she knows where most of the skeletons, not all of them, are buried, but she has been a delight. To her husband and son, thank you for sharing her with us all these years. And it has been a joy, Scarlett, to be able to spend time to chat with you. Sometimes it's business, and sometimes it's about other things. She's a Bible scholar also, in case you didn't know. But anyway, Scarlett, God bless you and your family. Thank you for sharing these wonderful times with us.
Thank you. Councilman Cardilla?
Scarlett, I certainly share the opinions of everybody here this evening. And I truly wish to thank you for the time you spent with me when I served on the boards, on the planning board. I've often said, and I think I mentioned to you, being on the planning board was the same thing as going to the dentist. However, your guidance helped me understand the land use process a heck of a lot more than I did. And I've always had the opinion, in what we all do, it's always a game of compromise. And over the years, you've shown with your expertise that things can be done, even though there are objections and both sides of the table are arguing. There's always a way to find a way. And you've helped me understand that. You've sent the guiding light, so to speak. So thank you so, so much. And I can't wish you and your family nothing but the absolute best on your retirement. God bless you.
Mr. Pappas, I know you've spent time on our planning board.
Thank you. I've known Scarlett virtually my entire adult life. And I remember the first time I saw her in another town when I was on the zoning board. She presented herself for her client. She had a poise, she still has it. She has a style of presentation that is so authentic, substantive, and incredibly impressive. And since then, to this day, I compare every planner that I've ever seen before any land use board to Scarlett Doyle. And no one has measured up. God bless you.
Thank you. And Mr. Corsini?
Scarlett, just briefly, on behalf of myself, Bill Savo, and Alex Fisher, to say that we admire you and remain in awe of you all these years later is an understatement, and we wish you the happiest of retirements.
Thank you. And Scarlett, I shared some private thoughts with you a few nights ago. Just one that I want to briefly share. is there's been a lot of use of the phrase the face of Bridgewater. What is meant by that is what we look like today. What we look like today is a highly functional, desirable, beautiful community. And that didn't happen by accident. It happened through hard work, vision, whether it was from you as our planner, our staff, our hardworking land use boards. That is why we can be so proud of the smart development that has occurred in this community over the past many years, and why we are able to take the blessings that we have, natural beauty, access to state and interstate roads, and really make this a wonderful place to live, work, play, and pray. And Scarlett, your work will endure because right now we are in the working through our master plan, which will last. Its impact will last well beyond the time period that you're with us, and I'm very happy and proud that your imprint will be with this community for many, many years to come, both through that document and also through the mentorship and guidance that you have provided to so many people in the room. So, you know, as has been said, best wishes for happiness, health, and fulfillment in your retirement, and thank you on behalf of our residents. Thank you for everything you've done, and congratulations on your well-deserved key to the township. Thank you. Okay, so if we're now going to turn to a presentation. This is the Capitol Roads Progress, USDA updates, and this will be a combination of Tom Genova, our Director of Municipal Services, and Bill Burr, our Township Engineer. Those who want to stay for it, please do. Any who are here, particularly for Scarlett, certainly understand if you take this time to exit.
Council President, I just want to, I'm going to duck out here. I just want to make one comment before the presentation is made for about Tom and Bill in the presentation. Just in case it doesn't get said later, a lot of the work that they're going to talk to you about and the accomplishments that we've done is because this council took the foresight at the beginning of the year to make sure that we were able to move projects early. Being able to get road work out to bid at an early time frame allows us to get better pricing and get the work done and more work done than we can when that gets delayed. So thank you in advance to the council for the work that you've done to help us get these road projects approved early in the year, and we'll be trying to do the same thing again next year. So with that introduction, I will let Tom and Bill talk to you about the drainage projects that we've accomplished through some grants and some work for our town, and through the road work. And with that, I'm going to go head out.
Thank you, Mayor. The floor is yours, gentlemen.
Mr. Mayor.
The floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Council President. Good evening. We're here tonight to report the completion of two very important projects undertaken by the Engineering Division. The first project is the NRCS Funding Assistance Program. As you may recall, Hurricane Ida caused tremendous damage to the township waterways. The U.S. Department of Agriculture sent the Natural Resource Conservation Service team to the Bridgewater Township to evaluate federal-funded project possibilities. There were several. The NRCS engineers determined that 4 project sites met the eligibility requirements for federal funding. At this time, all 4 projects are completed. On the PowerPoint here are pictures of before and after the Blossom Drive project, and I would like Bill Burr to comment on them as I go through the PowerPoint. So what you see on this, the first one is the before. You can see the devastation that occurred from Hurricane Ida. Bill, if you want to add anything to that. That's the first one, we're good to go, and I could, so again, there's the before.
Yeah, so what you see before you is the damage that, and we've been through this before. We were here in early October to give an update on this project as well as our 2023 road project or road program. This first photo that you see is the damage that was sustained on, we call it Blossom Road, but it's a drainage tributary that drains under Washington Valley Road adjacent to the property at the corner of Washington Valley and Blossom Drive. So tremendous damage. As Tom mentioned, we had 4 project sites that were approved. They consisted of Brookside Drive, Long Road, Valley View Road, and since we were here in October, we just finished completion on Blossom Drive. So project as of now is 100% complete. If you want to cycle through, Tom, you'll see, do you see a photo there? So hit one more. So this is the finished project. This is a view from Washington Valley Road, looking south. The property, the house on your right side of the screen is the house at the corner of Blossom and Washington Valley. And you could see the idea of the project was to stabilize the eroded banks. And I really think it turned out well. We put a split rail fence up that is a little hard to see, but it provides a barrier from the residential property to this drainage way, and it helps to convey the runoff. Frankly, it comes from under 78 under Washington Valley, so it's a large amount of water that flushes through there. So we're really happy with the way the project turned out. This is a view
It's a little
further down, about halfway down, and you could see the fence.
So,
Do you want to see if there are any questions? I mean, I know that was a pretty
So that-
thorough explanation.
That was quick. That was, that project's complete. Our next step is to recommend to the governing body in the next few weeks to accept the project, approve final payment to the contractor. Shortly thereafter, we can go to USDA, to NRCS, request final reimbursement of the grant monies. So we received 75% of the construction cost in grant money and about half of the engineering oversight costs. So in total, we're looking at about $650,000 in grant money that we will have received for that project.
Bill, for the public's knowledge, what company did you use to do the actual hands-on work?
So the township engaged, we had designed the project, put the project out to bid according to the public contracts law. The lowest responsible bidder was Earthworks, Inc., an outfit out of South Jersey, Farmingdale. They had also recently done another project for the town for some trails work. They were qualified. I think they did a very good job, and their price was fair, so it worked out well.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the dais on this project? Okay, why don't we move to the roads update?
So, again, excuse me. We have just completed year 3 of the 5-year capital road project. Of the approximate 667 township roads, 200 have been completed to date. And 30%, that represents 30% of the township roads that have been repaved in the last 4 calendar years. Again, this is an exceptional accomplishment that the administration and the engineering division are extremely proud of. Of course, a project of this size requires countless hours of planning, organizing, budgeting, coordinating, and directing. To that end, I would like to thank Bill Burr, Township Engineer, for leading these projects. I would also like to thank Tony Gallo, Assistant Township Engineer. I can't say enough that both Bill and Tony, they have managed all aspects of the subcontractors, consultants, from design through completion. I mean, I can't put into words what it is to manage a project of this size. Again, thank you, Bill. Appreciate everything you do. And at this time, I would like to kind of like take us through, and Bill can elaborate on that. So here's a macro view of the township 2020. I don't know what.
So what you have on the screen right now is it's a map of the township roadway network. You've heard us talk at length in the past about the road assessment that has been performed twice now, where the township engaged an independent contractor to drive all the roads in town, assess the condition of the town using artificial intelligence, and that program gives us a ranking on the condition of the road from 1 to 5 ranking. And on your screen you see dark green roads are very good roads, red roads, I know it's a little difficult, red are the very worst roads. So I think as you toggle, and it's not a perfect program, but it's a very useful tool that we've grown to rely on when we're crafting going into our 4th year of this road program. So as you toggle between 2020 and 2023, the driving of the roads was actually 2022, you'll see that there's much less in the way of orange and red roads. And that was really our goal at the onset of this 5-year road program, was to reconstruct as many of the worst roads in town as we could. And I think just going back and forth shows the impact that we've had. Of course, and again, we've talked about it at length, once we get through the next year or two with more of the road reconstruction, more of the road resurfacing projects, one of the goals should be to also start implementing a pavement preservation program that is a cost-effective way of sealing our road surfaces and buying useful life out of them. So that's going to be transitioned in the near future, but for now we're still dedicated to the reconstruction, the traditional resurfacing projects, and I think these 2 slides show a pretty nice improvement in the roads across the town. So this slide that shows pictures of Billion, Morton, and Klein, this is a neighborhood down just east of Findern Ave between Union Ave and East Main Street. And the photos don't really paint the full picture, but I just wanted to spend a couple minutes and talk about this project because it's one that I think it's a really cool story, and it's one that we're really proud of. This is a project that had been in the pipeline since 2017. Funding was established in 2017, and engineering had begun in 2018. When we first got eyes on the project in 2020, that project, based on the design at that time and the cost estimate at that time, was valued at about $3.5 million. One of the things we always look at with our projects is really 2 things. How do we design a project to address the problem areas while giving a high quality end result, but also how we get there in the most cost-effective way? And when we initially looked at this with a $3.5 million price tag, we knew immediately that the project needed to be reimagined. There were ways that we could deliver that project in a much more cost-effective manner. So I don't want to say we stripped it down, but we got creative in how we advanced the project. We looked at the different facets of the design. We looked at different ways that we could implement the contract, the construction of the project. And what we came up with was actually splitting the project into 2 separate projects. When we first thought about it, it's kind of counterintuitive because you think one project, all-inclusive, was the way to go. But this one had a sanitary sewer repair component that was a more specialized type of work. So the fear, and I think part of what was driving the cost up, was if we put a project out that included a specialty subcontractor, that was going to inflate the project cost. There were some other things in the design that I think we were able to improve upon that also allowed it to be more cost effective. So long story short, we put the project out with the sanitary sewer repairs at a value of just under $700,000. We've just recently completed, and you can see in the photos, the paving work, the drainage and paving work was just completed in October at a value of $1.1 million. So all in, we've delivered a project at just shy of $1.8 million, $1.79 million compared to over $3 million when we first looked at it. So I think it's a great success story of being able to still deliver a project, a high-quality project, but really taking a look at trying to be creative and managing these projects in a way that saves the township money. So I think it turned out great. It is substantially complete, meaning there are some punch list issues that we're well aware of. We're actively engaged with the contractor to get them addressed, but the project by and large is complete, and I think it turned out really nicely. So I just wanted to highlight that for a minute.
Again, the takeaways are we have successfully used a data-driven approach to maximize miles of roads remediated. The earlier in the calendar year that we can budget and begin, the more roads we can complete. And we are currently looking into the 2024 capital project and look forward to continuing this success. So without any questions? All you.
I'll look to my right first for any questions or comments.
I think one thought that's on everybody's mind is when will you be at the point for the 2024 project that you can start announcing the streets and sections?
Can I jump in there? So Mr. Genova and Mr. Burr have been working on that. We have met. The mayor has gotten a draft list that he has edited. And once we get some pricing finalized, then we'll be coming to the council probably within the next 30 days.
Any other comment? Councilman Pedrosa, any comment? Yeah, I'll simply bring us to a wrap by saying thank you for this hard work, considerable impact on our community. I know we've discussed this many, many times. It's wonderful to see. The days of our red and orange, so to speak, are hopefully fewer in our future than they have been in the past. The number of roads in that category are fewer and fewer each season, and that hopefully we can, as you point out, pivot toward a focus on preservation so that we can get as much time as possible out of these roads and can ultimately have repairs that are less onerous potentially than the ones that we've been through in the past. So as a community, if we can stay in the green and the light green and the yellow and hopefully complete our work in the oranges and the reds and not see those colors again, that would certainly, I think, be a wonderful accomplishment, both for residents who live here now and for those, for the next generation still to come. So thank you very much. Okay, we are at item number 9, meeting open to the public. Members of the public, first, let me take a motion to open to the public. Is there a second? Is there a second? Second to my left. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, I'm going to read this notice, and then I will also express my preference for how we can handle this time together to be as efficient as possible. Members of the public wishing to address the council on any matter will be allowed 2 minutes to speak unless there are unusual circumstances. We have a sizable number of individuals in the room who appear to be affiliated with RWJ, nurses, and other supporters. I want to thank you for your patience as we've gone through the other important parts of our agenda. I want to acknowledge a couple of younger supporters in the back who are particularly well behaved and engaged. So I'm not sure if you have one or more members of your organization that would like to address us. You know, I would like to, you know, so that we can remain organized, have anybody wishing to address on the RWJ nurse issue, please come forward. And what we typically do is ask for your name and address for the record, as well as for the benefit of those in the room and those online. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we also have a sign-in sheet so that we can make sure to get items, we can make sure to have your information recorded accurately. So, is there anyone on this topic that wishes to be heard?
Hi, good evening. My name is Carolina Lee, and I reside at Watersbrook Drive, over 20 years in Bridgewater. And as a registered nurse with over 20 years of experience, I'm reaching out to you, our esteemed municipal leaders, to advocate for the passage of the bill A4536 S304. This is crucial. Registration aims to establish minimal staffing standards for registered nurse in hospital, ambulatory surgery facilities, and certain DHS facilities. Currently, I'm among the 1,700 nurses on strike at the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital. For more than 125 days, we have been advocating for patient safety and accountability from hospital executives. Our strike, which began due to concern over unsafe working conditions, had led to tentative agreements as of December 1st, pending a voting by the union members. This situation underscores a broader public health crisis, the dire consequence of hospital understaffing. Research consistently indicates that inadequate nursing staffing level compromise patients' care and safety. This issue affects every resident who may require hospital care. For instance, adding just one patient to a nurse's average working load can significantly increase patient mortality rate from 7% increase in early 2000s to a staggering 12 to 16% in recent studies from 2021. Patients are more than a numbers on balance sheet. They're individuals whose lives are at stake, are at risk due to this practice. Nurses often stretch too thin, bear the emotion and professional burdens of these losses, frankly, without the time or resource to process their grief due to overwhelming work overloads. The impact of this crisis is also reflected in the soaring turnover rates among the staffing nurses, which reaches an average of 27.1% in 2021, a significant increase from the previous year as reported by 2022 NSI National Healthcare Retention and RN Staffing Report. I'm urging you to place a resolution supporting to these registrations on your agenda and vote in favor of this at your next council meeting. Such a resolution would not only reflect your commitment to the public health, but also encourage our state registrator, especially those who have not yet co-sponsored the bill, to recognize the gravity of this issue. Our goal is to establish safe and sustainable working conditions that enable us to provide high-quality care our communities deserve. Your support for these resolutions and the bill would be a significant step towards achieve safe patient care, reduce mortality rates, and overall improve health outcome. We are eager to collaborate with you, provide any necessary information or clarifications regarding the bill and the proposed resolution. Your consideration of this matter is deeply appreciated, and we're looking forward to a positive response. Thank you for your time and listening.
All right. Thank you. Can you just make sure to provide, write out your name and address just to make sure that we have it accurately recorded? Sure. There's a sheet there, correct? Okay. Thank you.
I am Camille McLawrence. I live on Stella Drive. I've been a resident of Bridgewater for over 20 years. I'm here to ask for your support for the legislation. I also wanted to explain to you that there's a shortage of nurses in the state and the country that has been, thanks. The issue is not really that there's a shortage of nursing. The issue is that there's a shortage of nurses who are willing to work in the hospital under the conditions that we currently have to work under, where it's not safe for the nurses, it's not safe for the patients, and they're just not willing to continue. Most of the nurses that are leaving the bedside are nurses that are less than 5 years of practice and under the age of 35. Majority of nurses right now are at retirement age or close to retirement age, so we need to encourage younger nurses to get into the field, and it would be one way of helping in that endeavor.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
And on a personal note, I want to find out if, in the planning stages, if you guys are planning to do a dog park in Bridgewater?
Are we planning to do a dog park?
Yeah. 'Cause I know you bought, like, on Chimney Rock Road, like, a couple hundred acres of property there?
So, I mean, I may be able to turn to Mr. Pappas for an answer.
We're beginning a review, a master plan of all of our parks and our recreation program. We have engaged with a consultant. There will be opportunities for the public to provide input, and we'll ask that you would perhaps participate in that.
Okay, I've
Offer
already
your-
emailed the township about it.
Sure, I'll give you my card and just send me your email, and you can,
And-
we'll make
and
sure
a
we'll
walking
notify
trail
you.
also?
Pardon me? Well,
I'm at it.
you can offer your comments in the email, but then we can let you know when we have this public participation for the master plan for parks and recreation.
Thank you. It seems as though you're writing your name and address, right?
Yeah.
Terrific. Okay, does anyone else on the subject of the RWJ nurses wish to be heard?
Good evening. My name is Lynn McCabe. I'm a resident of Cranford in Union County. I've been a registered nurse for 23 years. All of them have been at RWJ in New Brunswick, where my colleagues and I are undergoing an unfair labor strike for safe staffing. Safe staffing means that there is a limit to the patients that a nurse on a hospital floor can take care of. For example, in the ICU, it would be 1 or 2, depending on how sick the patient is. Safe staffing or nurse-to-patient ratios are a matter of public health because no one wants the nurse providing direct care for their loved one to be overwhelmed with more patients that they can safely handle. Our strike will be resolved soon, I hope, but it's important that no other nurses have to be on strike for almost 5 months in order to stand up for safe conditions in our hospitals. I come from a family of nurses, and I love my profession. I want nurses at every hospital in New Jersey to be able to provide the kind of care that patients deserve. My colleagues and I come before you looking for the Township of Bridgewater to adopt a resolution in support of Senate Bill S304, Assembly A4536, which has been stalled for many, many years. We call on the township members to reach out to our state senators and assemblymen in support of this important bill. Thank you.
Thank you. And it looks like you're putting down your name and address. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Ryan Siegel from East Brunswick, New Jersey. In addition to what my colleagues have shared, I would like to add that this past Friday, it was announced that a tentative agreement had been reached between the local nursing union and the hospital. To clarify, the strike is not over yet, and members still need to review the details and vote on whether or not to accept the terms. However, regardless of the nursing strike in New Brunswick coming to an end in the near future or not, it is extremely important that the safe staffing bills be passed throughout the state of New Jersey so that all patients can be cared for safely by their nurses. We need support from all of our local officials. This is the reason we are asking for the support of Bridgewater Township by passing a resolution supporting the passing of safe staffing bills S304 and A4536. One of the questions we get is, how can we mandate ratios when there is a shortage of nurses? There are many licensed nurses that no longer work as nurses due to the conditions they faced while working at the bedside. Nurses are discouraging their friends and family from becoming nurses due to the conditions being faced. Nurses are searching for nursing jobs that don't involve working at the bedside. If there truly is a nursing shortage, by not implementing enforceable safe staffing standards, the problem will only become worse. If conditions at the bedside are improved, more nurses will want to continue working at the bedside, more individuals will want to become nurses, and perhaps most importantly, studies show that safe patient staffing decreases mortality, decreases medical errors, and decreases the amount of time a patient must stay in the hospital, just for starters. We will make sure that you have a point of contact available to you if you have any questions for us at all. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, if we could have that as the takeaway. First of all, does anyone else wish to address on this matter from RWJ? Let's make sure that our deputy clerk has contact information if there is one particular person, so that there can be exchange of information. Would that be you?
Definitely. Well, it can be, sure thing.
Okay, all right. If you
We'll
want to
make
just
sure.
maybe, in addition to your name and address, put a little star and put down an email address and a telephone number as well. And do you have a card with you? Okay.
And I'll also be sure to send an email after.
Okay, and Grace will also give you her card so that we can remain in touch.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, so if there's nobody else who wishes to address on RWJ, I'll open it up to other topics. Anyone else wishing to address council, please come forward. Name and address for the record.
Jane Gandolf, 2000 Washington Valley Road, Martinsville. Couple of things. First, congratulations for being reelected. Half the people aren't here, but share my good wishes for them.
Thank you.
Second thing is, I had a conversation with the council president just prior to election regarding historical preservation in Bridgewater, and I'm looking forward to working with this group on making that happen in 2024. And thirdly, I see on the agenda tonight, the last item was approval of the final work at Camp Cromwell. So I'm hoping that means Camp Cromwell will be open at some point in the near future.
Mr. Pappas?
We have been working, as the council knows, we have provided periodic updates on progress. We are working on an updated report, which we will give to the council probably over the next month or two. That will include answer to Mr. Gandalf's questions.
Okay.
It's certainly our strong desire to have that property, or at least portions of that property, open as soon as that can be done safely for the benefit of the community.
Very good. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to address council tonight?
Am I in someone's way?
Good evening, Kathy Franco, 766 Weemac Road. I know Scarlett's not here anymore, and I wish that the public had the opportunity to speak about her at that time, but I'll share my comments now. The township and its residents owe its thanks and gratitude to Scarlett Doyle. I attempted to identify through documents in the area of master planning that I would be able to find on the internet. And I was able to go back as far as 2009, documents that had her mark on them. And I know that she has served the township for over 20 years. Scarlett has served under 4 mayors, numerous councilmen and women, and mentored scores of volunteer members of the planning and zoning boards. Her in-depth knowledge of the township and her ability to envision the goals, needs, and desires of its residents have shaped our township into one which we can continue to be proud of and pleased to reside in. Her ability to collaborate has always provided a positive image to all with whom she interacts. Her guidance, professionalism, and patience has benefited this township in attracting development, which is complementary to the township's vision. Scarlett will be a hard act to follow, and I can only hope that as we look to fill her shoes, that we do our due diligence as township leadership to ensure that we bring only the best to Bridgewater for this position. To the Bridgewater Police Department, I want to thank them for always having their prompt and efficient response, and especially most recently to the apprehension of 2 suspects related to the Bradley Gardens vehicular burglaries. On some other notes, I have written to this council, and I await your guidance still on where the 2-minute limit on public comments is documented. Again, I still await a reply and a response as to where that is written somewhere in township documents. On the audit, when will it actually be available on the website? I know it was just, talked about this evening, but I'm hoping that it will be posted on the website within the next few days. Is that a reasonable expectation? Oh, so at the conclusion of this meeting, when it goes through all of the resolutions and it's accepted, we can expect it to be posted? But if it's acted upon tonight favorably, then the residents can expect that that document will be available? Okay, thank you. I would also like to know, I know that there is a master plan and recreation plan survey available to residents to participate in. I was wondering when those surveys will be closed for public input? Because there's no deadline. I had heard something somewhere about December 15th, December 17th, okay. Just so that people know, time is running out to participate and share their comments. I've seen only in one location, I've seen only in one location, one time, that December 15th, I saw a December 15th date somewhere. I'm just stating. So perhaps it's something that in the weekly newsletter or in some other way that Bridgewater can communicate that time is running out for residents who wish to participate.
There will be further communication.
Thank you. And finally, I would like to congratulate the successfully elected candidates for mayor and township council. I would hopefully remind you each that the elected officials will support, protect, and create a community that serves the entire population while working together without regard to political party affiliations. The campaign trail ended on Election Day, and as such, each of you should leave your party politics at the township doors and work for all of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address council tonight?
Move to close public input.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We do not have any final action ordinances or introduction of ordinances tonight, so we'll move to resolutions. Resolution 12A, authorizing budget transfers for fiscal year 2023 appropriations in the amount of $272,476.08 in the current fund. I want to just acknowledge in the resolution, when it is moved, we will need to amend the last line of the be it resolved clause to make sure that the numbers are in sync. The number is, in fact, $272,476.08. Mr. Pappas, any other commentary beyond what is written in the resolution?
No, there is a memo from Mr. Pandos that council requested.
Okay, any discussion on this on the dais? Mr. Pedrosa?
Perhaps more for the public's purpose in mind, but we're not really, this isn't really adding money to the budget. This is just moving funds from one account to the other, correct?
That's correct, yes, sir.
This is just a housekeeping task of allocating funds and moving them from a particular account designated and from the budget to other accounts, correct?
Yes, and New Jersey only permits that of local units of government after November 1st in each calendar year.
Very good. I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that we're not adding money, we're not adding any additional income or expenditure to the budget. We're just moving money around.
Correct.
Thank you.
Councilman Norgalis, any comments?
Oh, sir, I'll move adoption of 12A.
Let me just make sure there is no further discussion, and then we'll take that. Councilman Cardilla?
No, I'll second it.
Okay, just one comment I have before we move to a vote. Acknowledgement, Mr. Pappas, that these are the anticipated budget transfers. Will there possibly be others at our final meeting?
There may be one more, maybe, not sure. If it's not, it will be significantly less than this.
Okay, and just for context, we're talking about a movement of $272,000 within a budget of roughly $47 million.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we have a motion and a second. We have that recorded? Yes. Okay, a roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Before we move any further, that back door has to remain open. We have a motion and a second.
Yes,
And we're
and-
voting. I vote yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes, and just acknowledging that we will be making the amendment in that be it resolved clause so that there's uniformity. Okay, thank you. All right, moving to 12B. This is a certification of the 2022 municipal audit. Mr. Pappas, I know you gave us some commentary before.
That's all. Be happy to respond to any questions you may have, but I know that each council member I've spoken with, each council member has had the benefit of speaking to our auditor, and I have no further comment.
Okay. Any discussion on the dais, 12B?
I have no discussion, but I'd make a motion to pass it.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Roll call at 12B, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. 12C, this is the resolution approving the corrective action plan, which was outlined by Mr. Pappas earlier, for the 2022 municipal audit. Any further discussion?
No, just the details of that, of the items, the recommendations, the specific corrective actions, and the implementation date is attached as part of the resolution.
My suggestion to the administration, and it's a suggestion, since certain issues came up for 2022, I would strongly encourage the administration to look at the books that are currently in 2023 and make sure that everything is in order before the audit occurs.
Yes, that's ongoing now, sir. Absolutely.
I have a statement I'd like to read.
Oh, yes, please.
In reviewing the audit correction plan, I want to choose my words very carefully. I find that after many years of no recommendations, we find ourselves faced with 3 for the year 2022. This is disturbing. Of the 3 items in the audit recommendation, the interfund transfer issue was, I am sure, simply an oversight and quickly and easily corrected. In point of fact, if identified before the close of the 22 books, it would not have made the list. The journal, general ledger, and balance identifies a more basic flaw that requires strict attention to fixing the 2022 issue, but also raises the issue of whether or not the same issue will dog us in the closing of the 2023 books in just 24 days. The third recommendation states that sufficient balances be available prior to the commitment or payment of funds. That is a very polite way of saying we overspent our budget. As a township, we need to do a better job of tracking budget versus actuals for both revenue and expense. For several years, we have contracted out the accounting functions of the CFO job. That issue has recently been addressed, and we now have a hired veteran CFO who will shepherd our finances from here on in. A critical review of the headcount assigned to that department will be performed and addressed within the coming week. I will vote yes on the action plan, but will look for council oversight on township results on literally a month-by-month basis in the earnest hope of no recommendations in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. And my brief commentary, I'm sorry, Councilman Cardilla, did you have anything to add?
I certainly support Councilman Nogales' comments, and I'm sure we all share concerns reflecting the desire that we all have not to have corrective actions. So that's my comment.
All right, and I'll close comment on two items. The first is what I've shared privately, that it is our hope that we will be able to provide the necessary data and information so that the next audit of our 2023 operations can be completed as early in the year as possible. So if in the event that there is any additional corrections, we can take those quickly. In the event that there aren't, we can certainly be aware that there is no corrective action as soon as possible. The second item, to reiterate what was stated by Councilman Norgalis, there will be additional oversight in 2024, budget versus actual, both on the revenue side and the spending side. I believe the way to get there is Council, Vice President Ring, and myself, as members of the Budget Committee, working with administration, working with our CFO on some relatively simple but still comprehensive dashboards, so that we can understand the financial picture of the township on a regular basis. And in the event that there are any discrepancies, we would be aware of them very, very quickly. So I'll take a motion to approve 12C.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And a roll call, please.
Councilman Codilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yeah, I'm going to vote yes. I didn't get a chance to provide my comments, but
My apology.
that's fine. No problem. I do want to share that I do support the statement of Councilman Norgalis. I think it certainly is a prudent approach. I'm very disappointed by the results of the audit. However, I certainly am appreciative of Mr. Pappas's comments early in the meeting, and I appreciate the fact that it seems that the administration has been quick to take action. They do have a plan, and I certainly will hold them accountable, and also expect them to certainly fulfill their plan and bring the township into full compliance. I do want to note that I find this matter to be very serious, and I do anticipate that we're going to have a clean audit coming up in the year coming up. Certainly, there's enough. I guess there's been an alert placed on this matter. That there are accounting issues. I think the administration at this point is on notice, and it's certainly the administration's obligation now to look at the books and make sure that this doesn't continue to happen. But I do certainly, I am happy to see the administration take quick action, like I said, and I have continued to have full confidence in the administration's ability to manage our township finances and do a good job. So I will vote yes on the plan.
President Kirsch?
Yes. 12D, this is establishing the bid threshold pursuant to NJSA 40:A 11-3A to $44,000 and appointing William Pandos as Bridgewater Township's qualified purchasing agent. Seems self-explanatory.
Move 12D.
Is there a second?
I'll make a second, but I do have a comment.
Please.
The part that I'm concerned about is having our CFO acting as a qualified purchasing agent also. Is this a temporary thing, Mr. Pappas, or is this going to be permanent moving forward?
It's temporary. We've hired a new purchasing agent. She's starting on the 18th of December.
Very well, because my concern was, what we just spoke about regarding the actions of the CFO, and then adding the purchasing QPA responsibilities, something's going to get soft. So knowing that this is temporary, and we do have a full-time purchasing agent coming on along with Bill. I support 12D as a second.
Any additional comment on 12D? Roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. And 12E, this is a corollary appointment of qualified purchasing agent William Pandos as 2023 Public Agency Compliance Officer.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. 12F, this authorizes an increase in the amount of $13,712.79 to Delta Dental of New Jersey to provide dental and vision insurance to the Township of Bridgewater for a total annual premium, $339,912.79. Mr. Pappas, explanation, please.
During the course of the year, from the time the budget was originally prepared, there have been additional enrollees, and their enrollment needs to be paid for.
Okay, and for clarification, this is for the year that we're just about to complete.
Correct.
Any other discussion or questions?
Yeah, I guess. Is Delta Dental the only provider of dental insurance in New Jersey?
No.
They're
providing, just so you know, dental and vision for our employees and retirees.
We just certainly were successful at obtaining multiple bids for health insurance that saved our residents a lot of money. Is there any, has there been possibility of trying to get bids for dental insurance as well from different providers?
Each year we separately pursue options for dental and vision and prescription, and we will again do so again for next year.
Just for clarification, this was for an increase in enrollees from 319 to 333. That's individual people, correct? So that's not, it's employees, dependents, retirees, and everybody else. Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Motion for 12F, please.
Moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. 12G, this is amending Resolution 23-02-02-057, authorizing award of contract for professional legal services, municipal public defender to Scott Mitzner, to increase the contract amount by $6,000 for a total of $26,000. Mr. Pappas.
The services of the public defender have been needed for every session versus the 3 sessions that had been anticipated at the beginning of the year, and this simply compensates him for his attendance. There had been discussions that I'd asked the court administrator to look at perhaps trying to combine or schedule the public defense, the cases where public defending is needed, and just because of the volume, that was not possible.
Okay, and for clarity, this should bring us to the proper amount necessary for 2023.
Yes, sir.
Okay, question, sir.
But this was based on the number of court appearances at $600 each,
No,
so.
per session. This is per session.
That's why I say by each court session. The fact of the matter is, we're at the end of the year when the budget is being changed for this contract, and for the future, I would hope that the court would recognize those kinds of changes earlier so that it could be before us in a more calendar.
That point was raised to them.
Thank you. I'll move 12G.
I have a question. This is Scott Mitzner as Bridgewater's public defender. Does any of this amount here include services for the Somerville court?
He is public defender for both Bridgewater and Somerville.
So the 26,000 does that include Somerville and Bridgewater, or just Bridgewater?
Both.
Both. So shouldn't Somerville be compensating part of that public defender fee?
Their compensation or their covering the proportionate share is in the agreement that we have with the Borough of Somerville, that they pay us So this was an added expense due to the
This is the
volume?
expense side, the other part's the revenue side.
Right, so there's not, they don't set, they don't issue a separate payment for public defender services. That is included in the agreement and their contract with us.
Does the agreement provide that if certain expenses go up,
No.
that we get? No, because like a business lease has provisions that if taxes go up, then the tenant pays more taxes.
No, there
We
is a
don't have that?
provision, I think a 2% increase that they pay us each year is part of the 3-year agreement, but there's no provision for what you suggested here. And frankly, you know, for the next cycle, we may need to look at that, but we don't have that currently.
When is the next cycle?
I think we probably have another year, maybe 2, I can't recall. Probably 2 years, probably runs through the end of 25, but I'll have to double check that.
Typically, I believe when a person's assigned a public defender, the court will make them pay some portion of that. They make them pay a fee. I mean, it's like up $100 or something.
I'm sorry, say again?
When a court assigns someone a public defender, do they make the person pay a certain fee?
I think it's $200.
Is it 200?
Contribute towards it.
Has that amount been already calculated into the 6,000, or are we getting, or is the $200 coming in like an additional revenue?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Mr. Pappas, just a question. Is it fair to say that there is ongoing conversation between the administration and Judge House to make sure that the court runs as efficiently as possible, including scheduling and staffing?
Yes, I can assure you that I had numerous conversations with the administrator of the court and the judge to not have to come to the council for this request.
All right, thank you. So we do have a motion and a second, a roll call.
We don't have a second.
Oh, I don't have a second. I need a second.
I'll second it.
I have a second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. 12H. This authorizes payment for road salt for the 2023-2024 winter season to the Somerset County Road and Bridge Division in an amount not to exceed $80,000. Mr. Pappas.
Just give me a moment, please.
Basically, they
In
have it-
the
they
meantime,
have
we'll do
it
our
with-
prayer that we don't have as much. We don't
They have
much
it, we need it, and we have a relationship. I move 12H.
All right, thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. Approval, this is letter I, approval to submit a grant application and execute a grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation in the amount of $789,654.96 for the I'm going to mispronounce this.
Van Vecten.
Thank you. Drive, South Avenue and Central Avenue Improvement Project under the NJDOT Local Transportation Projects Fund grant application. Self-explanatory?
Yeah, just a comment. We, Mr. Burr heard of this grant opportunity we had submitted last year. Never got a response as to whether we were successful or not. He had been told that we may still be in the running, but then they had a second cycle, and he thought it would be appropriate to resubmit because no harm. These are roads that are in significant disrepair. They would be on the in either the 24 or the 25 road program list. The thought would be if we can get a grant to cover it, then that would allow us to reconstruct other roads. So we are hoping that we will be successful.
It would suffice to say that these roads have extremely heavy truck traffic, being on the industrial section, and I love asking for money. I'll move 12I.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes.
If I can just add one more comment, there is another DOT grant for that Van Vecten would potentially be eligible for, but There is data that we would have to collect that would probably take us better part of a year. We are going to be working towards collecting that, so if we're not successful here, we would then apply under this other grant program.
Letter J, resolution for member participation in the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program, formerly known as National Joint Powers Alliance, located at 202 12th Street, P.O. Box 219 in Staples, Minnesota 56479. This is coming at no cost to the township. Any questions?
No, but I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. Letter K, this is a resolution authorizing the Township of Bridgewater to accept a sub-grant award in the amount of $10,000 for the federal fiscal year 2023 of Emergency Management Performance Grant, EMPG, Emergency Management Agency Assistance, EMAA. Any commentary or questions?
This is a grant we ask for and get each year. I move 12K.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. Letter L, authorizing the Township of Bridgewater to execute a sanitary sewer easement agreement and bioretention basin easement agreement with Cottages at Martinsville LLC for the property known as Block 802, Lot 131, formerly known as 802 Chimney Rock Road. That's Zoning Board of Adjustment application 21-031. Mr. Pappas, any commentary, or it's self-explanatory?
This just provides township access. The developer, the landowner, are responsible for the maintenance of each of these structures.
And these are going to be 8 new homes, correct?
Yes.
Any other questions?
Move 12L.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. Letter M, authorizing release of the performance guarantee in the amount of $105,600, posted in cash, acceptance of the site improvements, and acceptance of the maintenance guarantee in the amount of $13,200 for Frontier Road Property LLC, Block 711, Lot 12, that's also known as 999 Frontier Road. Any questions?
I have none, but I'll make a motion.
This is
I'll second
the
it.
old Van Heusen property.
This is the old...
Van Heusen property.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedroso?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes, and I'd like to, unless there's objection, take N and O together. Letter N, authorizing change order number 1, final change order decreasing the contract price from $1,158,834.90 to $1,133,193.94. That's a decrease of 2.21% or $25,641.05, authorizing acceptance of the project, release of the performance bond, acceptance of the maintenance bond, and final payment to Top Line Construction. They're located at 22 5th Street in Somerville, New Jersey, 08876, for the 2023-2 the roadway improvement project, which includes the base bid for the entire lengths of Beekman Road, Duval Street, Galway Lane, Hancock Avenue, Sargent Street, Shannon Road, and West Summit Street, an alternate bid for the entire lengths of McBride Way and Studford Way, funded through the 2023 Capital Road Fund. Letter O is authorizing change order number 1, final change order increasing contract price from $598,000 to $619,130, an increase of 3.52%. Or $21,030, authorizing acceptance of the project, release of the performance bond, acceptance of the maintenance bond, and final payment to Earthworks, Inc. They're located at 13 Morello Court in Farmingdale, New Jersey, 07727, for the 2022 Camp Cromwell Trail Improvement Project funded through Open Space Grant Agreement and Open Space Fund.
I have a comment on 12O. And looking at the description on this, one on this change order, one of the supplemental charges was concrete pool restoration. I thought we had removed the pool.
Yes. Yeah, there's no pool.
All right, so that description is wrong. Restoration basically should be
May have
removal.
It's actually demolition.
Yeah, I think it was demolition, maybe the restoration of the property, but there's no pool, there's no pool on the site.
Very well. Having said that description, I would make a motion for both.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, roll call on 12N and O together, please.
Councilman Cordilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Pedrosa?
Yes.
President Kirsch?
Yes. All right, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there any closed session tonight? With no closed session, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
And all in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Nobody ever objects to that motion. Thank you and good evening.